Captain Marcus Chen stood in front of the mirror in his quarters, adjusting his formal diplomatic uniform for the third time. The dark blue fabric with silver trim looked impressive, but he still felt nervous. Today was not an ordinary day. Today, he would attend a royal wedding on an alien planet. "Captain, the shuttle departs in 20 minutes. His AI assistant chirped from the wall panel. Marcus nodded and grabbed the ornate invitation from his desk. The crystalline card shimmered with its own inner light, displaying symbols he could barely read. 6 months ago, he never imagined he would receive such an honor. Humans were still newcomers to the Galactic Council. Barely 3 years since first contact, most alien species treated them with polite curiosity, like adults watching children take their first steps. But Princess Velanix of the Australian Empire had personally invited him to her wedding. The message had been clear. Your presence would honor our celebration. Marcus suspected it was a diplomatic gesture, a way to make humans feel included in galactic society. Still, he would not waste this opportunity. The shuttle ride to Lumina Prime took 6 hours. Marcus spent the time reviewing his briefing materials about Australian culture. The Australians were an ancient species. Over 50,000 years old, their bodies were composed of living crystal that glowed with soft inner light. They valued tradition, harmony, and what they called resonance. Though the briefing documents were frustratingly vague about what that actually meant. "We are approaching Lumina Prime," the pilot announced. Marcus pressed his face to the window and gasped. The planet below looked like a massive jewel floating in space. Crystal structures covered the surface, each one catching and reflecting the light of the system's twin suns. Cities spiraled upward in elegant towers that seemed to sing with color. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. The shuttle landed at the Royal Palace, a structure so vast that Marcus could not see where it ended. Crystalline guards, their bodies pulsing with blue light, escorted him through corridors that hummed with soft music. Other wedding guests walked past beings of every imaginable shape and size. Marcus recognized a few species from his studies: the floating ethereals, the armored crinoids, the plant-like verdani. Each one wore elaborate ceremonial attire. A tall Australian approached him, her crystal body glowing with gentle purple light. "Captain Chen, I am Coordinator Lissazana. Welcome to Lumina Prime. Please, follow me to your seat." "Thank you," Marcus said, trying not to stare at how her body refracted light into rainbow patterns. "This is an incredible honor. The princess specifically requested your presence," Lissazana said as they walked. "She has been curious about humans since your species joined the council." Marcus wondered what that meant but did not have time to ask. They emerged into an enormous ceremonial chamber that took his breath away. Thousands of guests filled crystalline seats arranged in concentric circles. At the center floated a platform surrounded by what looked like gardens made of living light. Flowers of pure energy bloomed and danced in the air. Lissazana guided him to a seat near the front, much closer than he expected for a minor diplomat from a newcomer species. Around him, alien dignitaries whispered and glanced in his direction. Marcus felt very small and very human. Music began to play. Though Marcus could not identify any instruments, it seemed to come from the walls themselves, a harmony that made his chest vibrate. The guests fell silent. The groom entered first. Lord Krell, Tar of the Vorden Collective, was massive, his crystalline body deep red and angular. He moved with military precision, each step deliberate. His expression, as much as Marcus could read alien expressions, seemed proud but cold. Then Princess Velanix appeared, and the entire chamber seemed to brighten. She floated rather than walked. Her crystalline form a stunning mixture of silver and gold light. Patterns swirled within her body like galaxies in motion. She wore what Marcus assumed was ceremonial attire, bands of pure energy that wrapped around her form like ribbons of starlight. Her face, though alien, carried an unmistakable grace. The ceremony began with rituals Marcus did not understand. The officiant, an ancient Australian whose crystal body had turned nearly transparent with age, spoke in harmonious tones about unity, tradition, and the sacred bond of resonance. Other Australians sang in voices that created visible waves of light in the air. Then came what the officiant called the resonance ritual. Princess Valanax, the Ancient One intoned, "Approach your chosen mate, and let your essences harmonize. Let the resonance confirm your bond before all witnesses." Princess Valanax floated toward Lord Kreltar. The chamber held its collective breath. This was clearly the most important moment of the ceremony. But then something strange happened. Princess Valanax stopped moving. Her body began to pulse with light, not the gentle glow from before, but intense waves of golden radiance that Marcus had never seen in any of the briefing materials. The light grew brighter and brighter until guests shielded their eyes. Murmurs of confusion rippled through the audience. Lord Kreltar stepped forward, reaching for the princess. But she moved backward. Her crystalline form trembled. Then she turned. Marcus felt his heart hammer in his chest as Princess Valanax turned away from her intended groom and faced the audience. Her eyes, luminous and multifaceted like diamonds, scanned the thousands of gathered guests and stopped on him. Time seemed to freeze. Marcus could not move, could not breathe. The princess floated past Lord Kreltar, past the officiant, past rows of shocked alien dignitaries. She moved with purpose, her golden light growing even more intense. She stopped directly in front of Marcus. Every eye in the chamber fixed on them. Marcus heard his own heartbeat thundering in his ears. He did not understand what was happening, but he knew it was significant, terrifyingly significant. Princess Valanax spoke, her voice like crystal bells. Though she spoke in Australian, translation devices carried her words to everyone present. The resonance has chosen. This human carries the frequency of my soul's match. She extended one crystalline hand toward Marcus. By the ancient laws that have guided our people for 10,000 years, I claim him as my destined mate. The chamber erupted in chaos. Marcus remained frozen in his seat, unable to process what had just happened. Around him, the ceremonial chamber descended into chaos. Alien dignitaries shouted in dozens of different languages. Guards rushed forward, though they seemed uncertain about what to do. The translation devices struggled to keep up with the overlapping voices. Lord Kreltar's crystalline body flared deep crimson, the color of rage. "This is an outrage." His voice boomed through the chamber. "I demand an explanation. We had an agreement, Princess. Our union was meant to unite our peoples." Princess Valanax did not move away from Marcus. Her golden light continued to pulse, steady and unwavering. "I did not choose this, Lord Kreltar. The resonance chose. I felt it the moment this human entered the chamber. The frequency is undeniable." The ancient officiant raised both hands, calling for silence. Slowly, the noise settled to anxious whispers. "This is unprecedented," the elder said carefully. "Never in recorded history has a resonance occurred with an alien species. Never has a princess abandoned her chosen mate at the moment of bonding. Because it is impossible," Lord Kreltar snapped. "Humans are primitive. They have barely learned to travel between stars. They cannot possibly carry the resonance frequency. This is a trick, an insult to our traditions." Marcus finally found his voice. He stood slowly, very aware that thousands of eyes watched his every movement. "I don't understand what's happening," he said honestly. "I came here as a guest, to honor your culture. I meant no disrespect to anyone." Princess Valanax turned to face him fully. Up close, Marcus could see complex patterns flowing through her crystalline body, like rivers of light following invisible pathways. "You have done nothing wrong, Captain Chen. What you feel as confusion, I feel as clarity. The resonance never lies. Perhaps the princess is mistaken," suggested a dignitary from the audience. "Perhaps the excitement of the ceremony has affected her perceptions." "I am not mistaken," Valanax said firmly. "I have trained my entire life to recognize the resonance. Every Australian child learns to sense the frequencies of others. What I feel from this human is unlike anything in our recorded history. But it is real." The ancient officiant gestured for calm. "This matter is too significant to resolve in chaos. I call for an emergency session of the High Council. Until they convene, Everyone will remain calm. Princess. Lord Kreltar. Captain Chen, you will all attend the council chamber in 1 hour. Guards surrounded Marcus, though they did not touch him. He noticed they treated him with more respect than suspicion, which was slightly reassuring. Princess Velanix floated nearby, her presence somehow comforting despite the insanity of the situation. Lord Kreltar stabbed one crystalline finger toward Marcus. This human will regret this humiliation. Our laws may be ancient, but they have provisions for challenges. The hour that followed felt like the longest of Marcus's life. He was escorted to a private chamber where Coordinator Lysisana brought him water and tried to explain what was happening. The resonance, she said, is a biological phenomenon unique to Australians. Every Australian emits a unique frequency, like a signature, made of light and sound combined. When two Australians with compatible frequencies come near each other, they feel a pull, a recognition. It is how we identify our true mates. Marcus sipped the water, his hands shaking slightly. But I'm not Australian. How can I have this frequency? That is what nobody understands, Lysisana admitted. In 10,000 years of recorded history, the resonance has never been wrong. It has never led an Australian to an incompatible mate, but it has also never indicated a match with another species. What happens now? The High Council will decide. They may rule that this resonance is an error, an anomaly, or... She paused. They may rule that ancient law must be honored, regardless of how unprecedented the situation is. The council chamber was smaller than the ceremonial hall but no less impressive. 12 ancient Australians sat in a semicircle, their bodies various shades of translucent crystal that suggested incredible age. Princess Velanix stood on one side, Lord Kreltar on the other. Marcus stood in the center, feeling very small and very alone. The head counselor spoke first, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. Princess Velanix, you claim this human as your destined mate. This claim disrupts a carefully arranged union and creates potential conflict between our empire and the Vorden Collective. Explain yourself. Velanix bowed respectfully. Honored Council, I have studied humans since they joined the galactic community. Their emotional range is unlike any species we have encountered. Where most beings experience emotions in simple frequencies, humans feel multiple emotions simultaneously. Fear and courage together. Joy and sorrow intertwined. Love and doubt existing side by side. She turned to Marcus. When Captain Chen entered the ceremonial chamber, I felt his emotional spectrum. It created a harmonic complexity that resonated with my own frequency in ways I cannot fully describe. It was like hearing a song I had been searching for my entire life. Code. Came around. I felt his emotional spectrum. One of the counselors leaned forward. And you, Captain Chen? What do you feel? Marcus took a deep breath. Honestly, I feel confused and overwhelmed. But I also feel... He struggled to find the right words. I feel like I should be running away, but I'm not. Something is making me want to understand this, to see where it leads. Maybe that's just curiosity. Maybe it's something more. I don't know. Lord Kreltar made a sound like grinding glass. This is absurd. The human admits he feels nothing certain. I demand this charade end immediately. The resonance is not always immediately recognized by both parties, another counselor noted. Especially if one party has never experienced it before. The council members conferred among themselves in tones too low for Marcus to hear. Finally, the head counselor spoke. After consultation with our historical records and spiritual advisors, we have reached a decision. The resonance has never been wrong in 10,000 years. We cannot dismiss it simply because it is unprecedented. However, we also cannot ignore the diplomatic complications. She looked directly at Marcus. Captain Chen, you have 3 options. First, you may refuse the claim. Princess Velanix will be unable to bond with anyone else for the rest of her life. But you will be free to return to your people. Second, You may accept the claim immediately, becoming the princess's mate by our ancient laws. Third, she paused, you may undertake the trials of worth. What are these trials? Marcus asked. 3 tests designed to prove whether you are truly worthy of bonding with Australian royalty. They are difficult, even for Australians. For a human, they may be impossible. But if you succeed, none can question your right to claim the princess as your mate. Marcus looked at Princess Vilanix. Despite everything, despite the chaos and confusion, he saw genuine hope in her multifaceted eyes. He thought about running away, about refusing this entire situation, but something stopped him. Maybe it was diplomacy. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was something deeper he did not yet understand. I will take the trials, he said. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Lord Kreltar's body flared crimson again. But Princess Vilanix smiled, a subtle shifting of light patterns that Marcus somehow recognized as joy. Then it is decided, the head counselor declared. Captain Marcus Chen will face the trials of worth. The first trial begins at dawn tomorrow. May wisdom guide us all. As guards escorted Marcus from the chamber, he wondered what he had just agreed to. Behind him, he heard Lord Kreltar's voice, cold and threatening. The human will fail, and when he does, this insult will be avenged. Marcus spent a sleepless night in the guest quarters, his mind racing with questions. What had he gotten himself into? What were these trials? Could a human even survive them? Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Princess Vilanix's hopeful expression and felt the weight of his decision. Just before dawn, soft chimes announced a visitor. Marcus opened the door to find Princess Vilanix standing there, her crystalline form glowing softly in the dim light. I should not be here, she said quietly. The laws forbid me from helping you prepare for the trials. But I wanted you to know something. She stepped closer. I have studied your species extensively. Humans are survivors. You adapt, you persevere, you find solutions where others see only obstacles. Trust in those qualities. Why did you choose to follow this resonance? Marcus asked. You could have ignored it, married Lord Kreltar, avoided all this trouble. Vilanix's light pulsed gently. For 10,000 years, my people have followed the resonance without question. It is the foundation of our society, our most sacred truth. To ignore it would be to deny everything we believe. But more than that. She paused. I felt something genuine in your frequency. Something worth fighting for. I hope I was right. She left before Marcus could respond, leaving him alone with his thoughts and doubts. At dawn, guards escorted Marcus to a massive arena where thousands of spectators had gathered. The High Council sat in elevated positions, observing everything. Lord Kreltar watched from a special platform, his red crystalline body radiating hostility. Princess Vilanix stood with the council, forbidden from interfering. The head counselor's voice echoed through the arena. Captain Marcus Chen, you face the first trial. The Garden of Echoes. Within this garden live crystalline predators that hunt by sensing fear. They lock onto the fear frequency and strike without mercy. Many Australians have failed this trial. Do you wish to continue? Marcus swallowed hard but nodded. I do. A massive door opened, revealing a maze-like garden filled with crystal formations that reflected light in dizzying patterns. Marcus stepped inside, and the door sealed behind him. The garden was eerily beautiful and terrifying. Crystal plants grew in impossible shapes, their surfaces mirror smooth. Marcus moved carefully, trying to control his breathing. He was definitely afraid. His heart pounded, his palms sweated. How could he not be afraid? A sound like breaking glass echoed through the garden. Marcus spun around and saw his first predator, a creature made of sharp, angular crystal that moved like a hunting cat. Its faceted eyes fixed on him, and it began to approach. Marcus felt fear spike through his body. The creature suddenly accelerated, moving faster as it sensed his terror. He ran, ducking behind a crystal formation. The predator struck where he had been standing, its claws leaving deep scratches in the ground. His mind raced, The creature hunted fear. But Princess Valanik said humans were adaptable. What made human fear different? Then Marcus understood. Humans never felt just one emotion. Right now, he felt fear, but he also felt curiosity about the creature, determination to survive, even a strange excitement at the challenge. His emotions were not a single note but a complex chord. He stopped running and stood still, letting himself feel everything at once. Fear, yes, but also courage. Panic, but also calm. He did not try to suppress the fear. He let it exist alongside everything else he felt. The predator slowed, its movements becoming confused. It circled Marcus, trying to lock onto his frequency. But the constantly shifting emotional patterns made it impossible. The creature tilted its head, puzzled. Marcus took a careful step forward. The predator did not attack. He took another step, then slowly extended his hand. "I know you're just doing what you do," he said softly. "Hunting is your nature. Fear is your signal. But I'm not just afraid. I'm a lot of things all at once." To his amazement, the predator came closer, its aggressive posture relaxing. It touched his hand with one crystal claw, not attacking, just investigating. Marcus felt a strange connection, as if the creature recognized something new and interesting in his emotional complexity. Other predators emerged from the garden, drawn by the unusual frequency. But instead of attacking, they surrounded Marcus with curiosity. He walked through the garden with crystalline hunters following him like strange pets, all of them fascinated by emotions they had never encountered before. When Marcus emerged from the other side of the garden, the arena fell silent. No one had ever completed that trial by befriending the predators. Princess Valanix's light flared with joy. The head counselor looked stunned. "The first trial is passed. Captain Chen, you have 1 hour to rest before the second trial begins." The second trial took place in a different arena, a vast maze called the Labyrinth of Truth. The head counselor explained the rules. "This maze creates illusions based on your deepest fears. Most face 2 or 3 such illusions. You must walk through them without fleeing. If you turn back, you fail." Marcus entered the labyrinth with determination, though his legs felt shaky. The first illusion appeared quickly: his mother, lying in a hospital bed, just as she had been when she died 3 years ago. The image was perfect, down to every painful detail. Marcus felt tears spring to his eyes, but he kept walking forward. "You taught me to be brave," he whispered to the illusion. "I won't dishonor that by running away." The illusion faded, replaced by another, then another. Marcus faced his childhood bullies, his failed relationships, his mistakes and regrets. He faced the fear of dying alone in space, the fear of failing his crew, the fear of not being good enough. Australians typically faced 2 or 3 fears. Marcus faced 17. Each time, he acknowledged the fear, felt it fully, but kept moving forward. This was humanity's secret strength. Not the absence of fear, but the courage to continue despite it. Humans carried countless fears and doubts, yet they still reached for the stars. When Marcus finally emerged from the labyrinth, his face was wet with tears, but his head was held high. The crowd erupted in cheers even from non-Australian spectators who recognized the incredible feat they had just witnessed. Lord Kreltar's expression darkened further. Princess Valanix looked at Marcus with undisguised admiration. "The second trial is passed," the head counselor announced. "Tomorrow, you face the final trial, the bonding resonance. This trial cannot be passed alone. Captain Chen and Princess Valanix must achieve harmonic resonance together. They must be completely vulnerable with each other, holding nothing back. Only then will we know if this bond is genuine." As Marcus was led away to rest, he saw Lord Kreltar speaking with shadowy figures in a corner of the arena. The hostile glances they threw in his direction made Marcus's instincts scream warnings. Something was wrong. The final trial would not be as simple as it seemed. Marcus woke to urgent knocking on his door. He stumbled out of bed, his body still aching from the previous trials. When he opened the door, Coordinator Lisizana stood there, her crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "Captain Chen, we have a problem," she said quickly. Lord Kreltar has invoked an ancient right. Before you can attempt the final trial, he has challenged you to honorable combat. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Combat? I'm a diplomat, not a warrior. I know. But the law is clear. Any party who feels wronged by a resonance claim can demand satisfaction through combat. If you refuse, you automatically forfeit all trials. Lysizana looked genuinely worried. Lord Kreltar has trained in combat for over 2 centuries. He is a master of 7 fighting disciplines. When is this fight? In 2 hours. I am sorry, Captain. The Council cannot override this law. Marcus spent the next hour trying to prepare. He had basic self-defense training from his military academy days. But that was over a decade ago, and designed for fighting humans. Not crystalline aliens 3 times his strength. He practiced some movements in his quarters, but each attempt only reminded him how hopeless this seemed. Princess Volanix managed to send him another discreet message, just a few words on a datapad. Fight with human truth. What did that mean? Marcus pondered the cryptic message as guards escorted him to the combat arena. The stands were even more crowded than before. News of the challenge had spread across multiple star systems. Everyone wanted to see if the human would survive. The arena floor was a flat circle of polished crystal. Lord Kreltar already stood at one end, his massive form radiating confidence. He wore armor made of reinforced crystal that gleamed like blood-red diamonds. In contrast, Marcus wore simple protective gear that felt inadequate. The head counselor explained the rules. This is honorable combat. You fight until one party yields or cannot continue. Lethal force is permitted but discouraged. Captain Chen, as the challenged party, you may choose weapons. Marcus looked at the display of available weapons, crystal blades, energy staffs, projectile weapons he did not recognize. Then his eyes fell on something simpler. Plain metal staffs, similar to what humans had used for thousands of years. Those, he said, pointing to the staffs. We each take one. Lord Kreltar laughed, a sound like shattering glass. The human chooses primitive weapons. How appropriate. He grabbed a staff, spinning it expertly with one hand. Marcus took his staff with both hands, feeling its weight. It was heavier than he expected, but balanced well. He moved to his starting position, his heart hammering. The signal sounded. Lord Kreltar moved with frightening speed, crossing the arena in 3 massive strides. His staff swung in a powerful arc aimed at Marcus's head. Marcus barely dodged, rolling to the side. The staff struck the ground where he had been standing, leaving a crack in the crystal floor. Too slow, human. Kreltar taunted, attacking again. Marcus blocked this time, but the impact sent vibrations through his entire body. He was thrown backward, barely keeping his feet. Kreltar was stronger, faster, and more skilled. In a straight fight, Marcus would lose in seconds, so Marcus decided not to fight straight. He backed away, keeping distance between them. When Kreltar charged, Marcus dodged instead of blocking, using his smaller size to slip around attacks. He made Kreltar chase him around the arena, burning the larger alien's energy. Stand and fight like a warrior, Kreltar roared. Why? Marcus called back, dodging another strike. Warriors fight with honor, but humans fight to survive. We use every advantage we can find. Marcus began incorporating his environment, using the natural features of the arena. When Kreltar attacked, Marcus maneuvered, so the sun was in his opponent's eyes. He kicked up crystal dust to obscure vision. He feinted left, then went right, using misdirection. The crowd's reaction shifted from excitement to confusion. This was not how honorable combat typically proceeded. But Marcus did not care about their traditions. He cared about surviving. You fight like a coward, Kreltar snarled, frustration creeping into his voice. I fight like a human, Marcus replied. We're not the strongest species. We're not the fastest. But we adapt. We improvise. We never give up. As the fight continued, Marcus began talking, something that clearly confused Kreltar. Why do you want this bond so badly? Marcus asked, ducking under a swing. She doesn't love you. The resonance didn't choose you. Why force something that isn't meant to be? Silence. Kreltar's attacks became wilder, less controlled. Is it pride? Marcus pressed, weaving around another strike. Is it power? What do you really gain by forcing Princess Velanix into a loveless bond? You know nothing of our ways. But Kreltar's voice wavered. Marcus saw his opening, not a physical one, but an emotional one. I know that chasing something that doesn't want you only brings pain. I know that real strength is letting go. I know that love cannot be forced or claimed through combat. He stopped dodging and stood still, lowering his staff. The crowd gasped. If you need to strike down an unarmed opponent to feel worthy of the princess, then do it, Marcus said quietly. But we both know that's not honor. That's not love. That's just ego. Lord Kreltar raised his staff high, ready to strike the decisive blow, but his arm trembled. He looked at Marcus, then at Princess Velanix in the stands, then back at Marcus. Slowly, Kreltar lowered his weapon. You are right, human, he said, his voice heavy with defeat. I sought this bond for pride. For the alliance it would bring my people. For the status it would grant me. But not for love, not for the resonance. He dropped his staff. I yield. The arena erupted in shocked exclamations. Marcus released a breath he did not know he had been holding. But before celebrations could begin, alarms blared throughout the palace. A guard rushed into the arena, shouting urgently to the council. The head counselor's expression shifted to alarm. A human colony ship has sent a distress signal, she announced. They are under attack near our borders. Captain Chen, your people need help. Marcus felt torn in two directions. He had just won the right to attempt the final trial, to complete his bond with Princess Velanix. But his people were in danger. Princess Velanix did not wait for him to decide. She descended from the stands, her crystalline form blazing with determination. Then we go together, Epi, she declared. A true bond means facing challenges as one. The final trial can wait. Lives cannot. She looked at the council. I request permission to take a ship and assist the humans immediately. The head counselor hesitated only a moment before nodding. Permission granted. May the resonance guide you both. As Marcus and Velanix rushed toward the spaceport together, Lord Kreltar's voice called out behind them. Human, I will accompany you. Let me prove my honor through action rather than words. Marcus turned, surprised, and nodded. We welcome your help. Together, the unlikely trio boarded a fast military ship, racing toward unknown danger and a rescue mission that would test them all in ways the trials never could. The military ship cut through space at maximum speed, its engines pushing beyond normal safety limits. Marcus stood on the bridge beside Princess Velanix and Lord Kreltar, watching the star map display their rapidly approaching destination. His mind raced with worry for the colony ship and its passengers. We will reach them in 15 minutes, the pilot announced. I am detecting weapons fire ahead. Velanix touched Marcus's arm gently, her crystalline fingers warm against his skin. Tell me about your people on that ship. Help me understand what we are saving. Marcus pulled up the colony data. 300 families, scientists, farmers, teachers, children. They left Earth 8 months ago, searching for a new home on the outer rim. They are dreamers, like all humans who venture into space. They carry hope with them. Then we will not let that hope die, Velanix said firmly. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel, and the scene before them made Marcus's blood run cold. The colony ship hung damaged in space, its hull breached in multiple places. Surrounding it were dozens of automated defense drones, ancient machines firing energy weapons at anything that moved. Those are Sentinel drones. Lord Kreltar identified them immediately. From the old war, 10,000 years ago. Someone must have accidentally triggered their defense protocols. They will destroy anything they perceive as a threat. Can we disable them? Marcus asked. Their shields are nearly impenetrable, the pilot said grimly. And there are too many to fight through. By the time we destroy them all, the colony ship will be gone. Marcus stared at the screen, refusing to accept defeat. There had to be a way. Humans did not survive by being the strongest or the fastest. They survived by being creative. What activated these drones? He asked suddenly. Kreltar studied the sensor readings. The colony ship's engine signature. The drones must have mistaken it for enemy vessels from the ancient conflict. So they are responding to a specific engine frequency, Marcus said, his mind working rapidly. What if we could change that frequency, or mask it somehow? Volonyx's body pulsed with sudden excitement. My people can manipulate frequencies. It is the foundation of our entire civilization. If I could interface with those ancient systems, I might be able to convince them the colony ship is not a threat. But the drones will not let us get close enough, the pilot pointed out. Marcus turned to Kreltar. Your people are warriors. You know tactics. Can you draw the drones away while the princess attempts to interface? Kreltar's crystalline form flared with approval. A worthy strategy. I will lead them on a chase they will not forget. They worked quickly, forming a plan that required perfect timing. Kreltar took a fighter ship and flew directly at the drone formation, weapons blazing. As predicted, the ancient machines abandoned the colony ship to pursue this new threat. Kreltar led them on a dangerous dance through space, using every bit of his 2 centuries of combat experience. While the drones were distracted, Marcus piloted a smaller shuttle toward an ancient control station the sensors had detected on a nearby asteroid. Volonyx sat beside him, her crystalline body glowing intensely as she prepared to interface with technology older than human civilization. I have never attempted something like this, she admitted as they approached the asteroid. These systems are ancient. Their programming unknown. But you have something those ancient programmers never anticipated, Marcus said, landing the shuttle carefully. You have the resonance. You understand frequencies better than any species in the galaxy. And now you understand human creativity too. Combine them. They entered the control station together, finding walls covered in crystalline interfaces that hummed with dormant power. Volonyx approached the central console, placing her hands on its surface. Light flowed from her body into the ancient system. I can feel it, she whispered. The programming is so old, so rigid. It only knows enemy or ally, threat or safe. There is no room for anything else. Marcus watched the external cameras. Kreltar was performing brilliantly. But even he could not evade the drones forever. The colony ship was venting atmosphere from multiple breaches. Time was running out. Then teach it something new, Marcus urged. Show it that the universe has changed, that old enemies are gone, that the war ended millennia ago. Volonyx closed her multifaceted eyes, her entire being focused on the task. Her light grew brighter and brighter, flooding the ancient station with radiance. Marcus felt something strange, a tingling sensation, as if his own emotions were being drawn into the effort. Then he understood. Their partial bond from the resonance trials was still active. Volonyx was not just using her own frequency, she was combining it with his human emotional complexity, creating something entirely new. Together, they spoke to the ancient machines in a language of light and feeling. They showed the drones that the war was long over, that the ships in space carried life and hope, not destruction. They convinced thousand-year-old programming to see beyond its binary worldview. The drones stopped firing. One by one, the ancient machines powered down, their purpose finally fulfilled. Kreltar's fighter limped back to safety, damaged but intact. Emergency response teams immediately began rescuing the colony ship's passengers. Marcus and Volonyx emerged from the control station exhausted but triumphant. As they returned to the main ship, they found the rescued colonists gathered to meet them, children with wide eyes, adults with tears of gratitude. All of them alive, because 3 unlikely allies had worked together. An elderly woman approached Marcus, taking his hands. You saved us, Captain. Thank you. Marcus shook his head. We all saved you. Astralian, Vordon, and human, working as one. That is the real power cooperation. Across differences, the journey back to Lumina Prime took 3 days. During that time, Marcus and Volonyx spent hours talking. Truly getting to know each other, they shared stories about their childhoods, their dreams, their fears. The resonance that had brought them together began to deepen into something more profound, genuine understanding and respect. Lord Kreltar, too, proved himself changed by the experience. He apologized formally to both Marcus and Vilanix, acknowledging that he had been chasing pride rather than truth. "You have taught me something, human," Kreltar said. "Strength is not just in combat. Sometimes the greatest strength is in choosing a different path." Okay. When they returned to Lumina Prime, the entire planet seemed to be celebrating. News of the rescue had spread quickly. The human who had stumbled into an alien wedding had become a symbol of interspecies cooperation. The High Council reconvened for the final trial. But the head counselor smiled as she spoke. "Captain Chen, Princess Vilanix, you have already demonstrated the deepest form of bonding, resonance, working together to save lives, trusting each other in danger, combining your unique strengths. No formal trial is necessary." The bonding ceremony took place 3 days later. This time, it was a celebration, not a political arrangement. Representatives from dozens of species attended, including a delegation from Earth. Marcus's family watched via long-distance transmission, his father openly weeping with joy. As Marcus and Vilanix performed the resonance ritual, their combined light created patterns in the sky above Lumina Prime that observers said resembled both Australian crystalline structures and human constellations. 2 different forms of beauty merged into one. During the reception, Marcus found himself surrounded by diplomats eager to discuss cultural exchanges, research partnerships, and cooperation agreements. What had begun as an accident was becoming a bridge between civilizations. Princess Vilanix, now his mate, joined him, her presence a comforting warmth. "Do you regret attending that wedding?" she asked, with gentle humor. Marcus laughed, looking around at the impossible situation he had found himself in. "I came to observe an alien tradition. Instead, I became part of one. I think that is the most human thing possible, stumbling into the extraordinary and deciding to embrace it." Lord Kreltar approached with a crystal goblet, raising it in toast. "To the human who taught us that the strongest bonds are not those we plan, but those we are brave enough to accept. May your resonance shine for 10,000 years." As the celebration continued into the night, Marcus stood with Vilanix on a balcony overlooking the crystalline city. Stars sparkled overhead, the same stars that humans had gazed at for millennia, dreaming of what lay beyond. "What happens now?" Marcus asked. Vilanix took his hand, their fingers intertwining crystal and flesh. Alien and human. 2 beings who should have been impossible together, yet fit perfectly. "Now," she said, "we build something new. A future where resonance is not limited by species or tradition. Where humans and Australians learn from each other. Where one accidental wedding becomes the start of countless connections." Marcus smiled, looking out at the infinite possibilities before them. He had attended an alien wedding as a diplomatic observer and left as a bridge between worlds. He had proven that humanity's greatest strength was not physical power or technological superiority, but the courage to connect, to understand, to love, across all boundaries. The stars had always called to humanity. Now, humanity was learning to answer back. Not with conquest or dominance, but with open hearts and willing hands. And in that moment, Marcus Chen understood that this was what it truly meant to be human among the stars, to find family in the unexpected, to build bridges across the impossible, and to prove that love, in all its forms, was the most universal language of all. The resonance, it turned out, had been right all along. The end.